Episode 60, interview with Rodolfo Novak.
Interested in Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is a very vague concept to a lot of people.
Need to know more about cryptocurrency?
We're going to talk about the basics. This is something that people just have no idea about what crypto is.
How about buying, selling, and mining?
Tony, I think that's one of the things that's going to make us a little different from some other shows.
We're getting our hands dirty.
Then listen to Gary Leland and Tony Sakala, better known as the Crypto Cousins, on the Crypto Cousins podcast. This week's price.
This week's price of Bitcoin, $7,075. That's up $688 or 10.7% over the last 7 days. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Gary Leland here.
And this is Tony Sakala.
And Tony, I'm a little more excited today than normal. $700. That's a lot.
Well, that's really, we know who to thank for that. Did you see the post on tradingview.com?
No, I did not.
Well, this guy charted it out, and every time CNBC says something really bad about Bitcoin, it would go up.
Oh, I saw that post, but I didn't read it. I just saw the headline that CNBC is better at charting Bitcoin or something.
Yes, it was a 95% correlation is a contrarian guide. So as soon as they said Bitcoin was really going to do well and maybe it's going to be great, then it just plummeted.
Well, this is CNBC, as the article is about?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you why it happened then, which is, if you look at my show notes a little bit further down, they had a show last night called Bitcoin Boom or Bust. And if you want to check on Twitter, the hashtag's Bitcoin Boom or Bust. But it was a show about Bitcoin, and I had it in my show notes because I thought it was so crazy, this show. Okay, this show shows you how bad the legitimate press, I guess, or the illegitimate press, or whatever we want to call them,
Fake
is.
stream media?
Yes, that sounds good. Okay, here you go. They're experts, okay? Two of the experts that they had on maybe more of the show than anyone. It's this guy called the Crypto Kid. Now, the Crypto Kid, I don't know how old he is. I would have thought he was 32 or 33, but he lived in a treehouse up north somewhere. And he's like, have you ever seen those hats that look like a tiger's head and it comes down with a shawl and in the shawl are gloves? Mm-hmm. And so he's conducting the interview in that. He lives in a treehouse and he's like swinging in a tire swing, during the interview. And this guy looks like a total idiot. I don't know. I didn't get the idea he was a genius, but maybe he is. I don't know. I didn't see enough of him. But they had that guy representing Bitcoin. And then another guy they had on there who is the guy who is saying Bitcoin's bad is Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, like one of the biggest liars of all times. And they've got him on there, and on the side it says street cred. Like he knows so much about Bitcoin because he was good at scamming people. So these are two of their experts, the Crypto Kid and the Wolf of Wall Street.
No, this is typical. This is typical CNBC. This is crazy. So how did it go? How did it roll out?
It was ridiculous on those end. Now, they did go to, I do have to give them some respect, they did go to Africa. And they did a segment in Africa with a guy, and I can't remember who it was, but he was saying how so many people were unbanked, and how much of the world is unbanked. And they were going into that would be the usage of Bitcoin, was the people being unbanked. But if you were someone, I think if you were someone sitting there with some money living in America, and you watch his show, you're kind of going, I can't relate with this city in Africa, poverty-stricken people that, they're unbanked because they have no money. So maybe you can't relate with that.
Sure. So the average CNBC user trying to update their portfolio is not really concerned. Exactly.
Right. And they're going, gosh, I got $500,000 here I want to spend. I'm not worried about the Africa guy. And now the guy who they're saying has street cred because he was such a good scammer is telling me Bitcoin's a scam. And the guy who loves Bitcoin lives in a damn treehouse.
He's swinging from a tire.
And he's swinging from a tire.
Oh, my.
And then I have a question for you, because the crypto kid brought this up for me, Tony. So I want to make sure about this. Is it hodl or is it hodl?
I guess it depends on, where you live. It's tomato, tomato.
But that's what I would have thought. But the crypto kid said it's only hodl, and it's stupid to say hodl. And I was going, well, I think it's like tomato, tomato, or cement, or pecan, or pecan.
Well, I mean, especially when you've got people on YouTube that are rappers, and they call themselves the hodl gang. I mean,
yeah. The
whole point of fake stream media is it's a classic technique for mind control. You set up the people who are representing the good, look what apparently is what we think is the good side, to look like, fools, crazy people.
Well, they had some other people in there, but those two were some of the biggest characters.
Wow.
The con man of all times who went to prison. How can you believe anything this guy says? I mean, he lied to people all day long and taught people to lie to people, and he had no issues about it. So we know the guy can lie all day long without even losing any sleep over it. And the other guy, I promise you, that was a weird dude. He sold everything he had, which I had a feeling it wasn't a lot, but maybe it was, to move in this treehouse so he could have more money to buy crypto with, Bitcoin with.
I see.
So he's living in a treehouse with no insulation, and it's wintertime when they did the interview. So there's snow all over the ground. So I would want a heater. I would think I would be able to buy a heater.
Well, it's amazing. This just reminds me of when the mainstream media covered the World Trade Organization protests. They just made everyone look like a terrorist. Like, these were people who were marching in the streets for the World Trade Organization way, way back. I forget, it was like the year 2000, 2002. And they just presented the craziest of the anarchists.
Speaking on that CNBC covered that too.
You're kidding?
Oh, yeah, they covered the protests against Wall Street and stuff, and that Julian Assange had evidently at one time posted Bitcoin is the anti-Wall Street movement. So they covered them in there a little bit too, about that. So they threw in some more bits in here that were negative, and they had a few bits of positive.
Infecting minds, one show at a time.
Hey, getting off that subject. Oh, and the link I'll put in the show notes a link to an article about it, if anyone interested. Last week we were talking about reviews. Our show was our reviews.
Yes.
I started giving people reviews. I realized I have not given any crypto people any reviews.
Oh.
And here we're asking for reviews, and we're reading our reviews, and I go, I've never given anyone a review, and I listen to a lot of podcasts on a regular basis. So I started going in and leaving reviews, and anyone will be able to tell my reviews because I don't promote the show, but as a hint, I go, if I give a 5-star review and I go, I love this show or whatever, in the description or the review text, I go, blah, 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 and I say, as a crypto cousin, I can tell you this is a great show. So people will be able to spot my reviews. Little hint. But I don't put, go watch the Crypto Cousins or a link or anything like that, but it's just so someone will know it's me.
Sure. Fantastic. Well, you're creating some good karma for us.
Well, I thought I should. I started realizing here I am asking for all these reviews and I never give any. So how can I be expecting people to give us reviews if I don't give them back?
Cool.
And also, I want to make sure everybody knows about our Cryptoversary, September 28th. Go to the Facebook group at cryptocousins.com/party, but that's our 1-year anniversary. Here in Dallas, it's a physical party we're going to have at a great place, so I'm going to pump that. I know I'm known as the guy who is always marketing stuff on the show, so I want to keep that.
That's right. Keep your badge of honor.
I'm not going to lose that moniker.
Yeah.
I'm not the cool guy. I'm the marketer guy. So you're the cool guy. I'm the marketer guy. So, but I definitely hope people come so that I can try to market them some stuff.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I'll have a drink with them.
You have a drink, and I'll have a little bag. I'll have me one of those little trays, like in Vegas, the cigarette girl has. During the party, I'll be walking around going, "Get your Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin here. Get your Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin here."
Oh my God, that's funny.
Well, maybe that's enough of that. But do go check out the site, and if you're in Dallas-Fort Worth, come to the party. But today we have an interview with, as we said earlier, Rodolfo Novak, also known as NVK. That's all I ever see him listed at anywhere, is NVK.
NVK on Twitter and on BitcoinHackers.org.
Yeah, I had to ask you, what does NVK stand for?
I had to think about it for a second, but yeah. We had a fantastic interview. You know, it was our first interview where we had video on. We didn't record the video, but I liked the...
I don't think I handled that video well, Tony.
Oh, well, we're working on it. We're working.
That's the thing about me. I'm doing a lot of stuff here while I'm doing this show. And then when the video's on, I think probably Rodolfo's going, that guy's not paying any attention to me.
He's updating his Facebook.
He's like opening his mail.
Yeah, it's a mail. There was a new iPhone 4 came in the mail.
Yeah. I don't know. I might have to like put a paper prop in front of me, that looks like me.
Very smiling.
And I can be behind it doing all my stuff. I kind of get bored, and I reach over here and start doing stuff.
Because you could do there's like a thing they do in jail when you're going to break out. You like run the video loop.
Yeah.
Second loop.
That's what I need to do is run a loop when. Hey, before we get on to him, I just want to tell you, I've been downloading a Bitcoin node here in the store.
Oh yeah.
I've been downloading this for 8 days now, and I'm only 65% done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to take a lot longer, too, because near the end it gets a little bit slower because there are obviously more transactions in the more recent times. What kind of computer are you doing it on?
A PC. I mean, it's
not
got
a fast PC.
Well, it's got plenty of space on it. I mean, it's got plenty. We checked it out and we updated it to the newest version of Windows, and because it said you had to have the newest version, and it's got way more than enough space. I mean, to handle it.
And your bandwidth, is it fast?
It's at the store here. I mean, it's semi-fast. I mean, we do a lot of work on the web here. I mean, we had it upped up. It's faster here than at the house.
Well, we'll see. What did it take about 2 weeks at the other location?
It's been
at our secret location.
It's been about 9 days, I guess, here now, and I'm 65%. Oh, well, that's neither here. I didn't mean to go on and on because we're known for chatting way too much before we get to the subject.
Boring people with a chit-chat.
Yeah,
message.
Don't know how they put up with us. Yeah, maybe we ought to just start giving a warning at the beginning of the show. If you want to go to the title of the show, if you want to get to the subject, hit forward fast 15 times. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that'll get you. I don't understand why people don't do that. You don't have to listen to it at 2 times speed, Tony. You can just hit that forward fast button like 15 times real quick. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And get to the point that I want to hear. They go, I don't want to hear about this. Bam, 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 bam. And the next thing I know, I'm at where I want to be.
Or if it was a YouTube video, like you could just kind of scroll forward, they could see when Rodolfo's face comes into the picture.
Yeah. Well, anyway, maybe we should get to the interview, though. You want to tell us about Rodolfo?
Rodolfo Novak was born in Sao Paulo, but he's a Canadian by choice. And Rodolfo is the maker of pragmatic user experiences. This is from his bio on Crunchbase. He's active in the Toronto startup community, and he's the co-founder of CoinKite, a company that has been developing Bitcoin solutions since 2012.
Now, CoinKite, they also do the Open Dime, which we sell, and he sells. He sells the 3-packs, and we sell the 1-pack.
Yes. And the new cold card wallet, which I'm excited to.
Hey, I went to buy that cold card wallet, and I told you I didn't finish it up, so I went back. Their system is pretty cool. It was pretty smart. I don't know if it's cool, pretty smart. It emailed me, say, hey, you didn't finish your shopping experience.
Yes.
And so I said, oh, yeah, I do want to get one of those. So I went to go buy it. And Rodolfo, I'm not giving you a hard time. I'm just telling you my thoughts, sharing this with all the cousins out there. I went back to buy it and got to shipping. And it said, do you want the slow shipping U.S. mail or the fast shipping? And I said, well, I'm not in a hurry. I'll take the slow shipping at maybe it was like $7 or something. I'm just using memory. I could be off here. And so I put in the $7 shipping and hit enter. And it said, oh, if you're buying this product, you can't use the slow shipping. You have to use the $25 shipping. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I don't want to pay an extra $18 for shipping. And I didn't complete my order.
Were you paying with crypto or credit card?
Credit card. I don't like to spend my Bitcoin.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I was spending with my credit card.
Well, that's the reason why. Because credit card is, I'm pretty certain, I could be backwards on this, that with one of the payment solutions, they required the extra insurance and the slower one with the tracking, because they wanted to be able to track the shipping. So that when you reversed your credit card and said, oh, I didn't get it, they could say, oh, no, look, it's tracked.
Do you think they had a big problem with that? Because, I mean, we do that all the time. I mean, I ship 50 packages a day, and I never have any issues like that.
Well, I mean, I think...
I track bats that are $350, $400, but if it's under $100, it's just not worth trapping. I just send it U.S. mail. You think they probably had a big problem?
Well, I believe that. I believe so. I believe, as you know, in the online store industry, they have a rampant problem with fraud. I mean, someone who pays with a credit card can say, oh, it didn't come. And if it was sent through the regular mail and wasn't tracked, then the credit, you know how the credit card companies are.
Oh, and I guess they're not worried about with Bitcoin because you aren't getting your Bitcoin back.
They're getting it back. Exactly.
Okay, so they're just saying, hey, we're shipping everything insured, and the fact that you spent Bitcoin, that's your insurance. That's our insurance.
Exactly.
Okay, I can look at that because that's why I didn't buy it. I was going, I just had a hard time. My freight costs going up that much. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If they said, yes.
Sticker shock. It tripled. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't buy it, because I wanted to test out the device so I could share with the cousins what I thought about it. Okay, now see, we're talking. This is why our shows take so long.
This is critical. This is pertinent information. If someone wants to tune out, then they're not a true cousin.
This is true. True cousin. Okay. Anyway, maybe we should get to the and he can tell us about what we're talking about, the device we're talking about.
We'll hear it from Rodolfo himself.
Okay, we'll be back in a second, guys. Rodolfo, welcome to the show. This is Gary, joined by Tony.
Hello, Rodolfo.
Thanks for having me.
We're excited to have you. Tony, will tell you, because he was telling me he's been following you for a long time. I really was aware of the Open Dime, but I've gotten to know you more from the Bitcoin Mastodon group.
Yeah, there is that.
That's what brought you to my attention, I guess, more than anything, was the Mastodon group. So, but, I mean, you've been in this a long time. Tell us before we get going, how'd you, a little bit about yourself and how'd you get into Bitcoin?
I've been developing stuff, like products, services, for a very, very long time. I love creating new things. And I partnered up with Peter, my business partner, many years before the Bitcoin stuff. We've been, sort of working on things. So I think it was 2010, bumped into the Bitcoin white paper on Slashdot. Read it, didn't believe was possible. Sort of play around with it more, then got really into it, and then immediately started building things for it because we saw it as the future.
Well, you started building a lot of things. Now, from what I recall, I mean, it was you guys actually had a centralized service. I mean, people were actually putting Bitcoin on your CoinKite was doing things that you no longer do today.
Yeah. So we thought, hey, you know what? Bitcoin is a payment system, so let's make Bitcoin payment terminals and Bitcoin debit cards, because why not, right? I mean, that's how people buy stuff. So let's make it work for Bitcoin. So we did create that, and then we couldn't find a good wallet we liked. So we went and we created a wallet on a centralized wallet, and then we're like, we don't like centralized wallets, so we created a multi-sig wallet. And then sort of like, okay, fine. You know what? We're tired of dealing with like having servers, and we want to focus on hardware because that's what we like to do. So we created Open Dime, which was the first Bitcoin bearer bond, and I think it's still the only one. And then now we're just launching Cold Card, which is a hardware wallet, because we were not happy with the hardware wallets that were out there. That's sort of like normally how we do it. It's we each our own scratch. Sorry, scratch our own each.
And eat your own dog food.
That's right.
So, I mean, at the time, right when Charlie Shrem was doing his Bit Instant, do you remember those days? I mean, you guys are still centralized at that point. What was going through your head when that happened?
No, so we always sort of wanted to create a technology solution, never a financial solution, right? Mm-hmm. So, and we, from the beginning, starting on Bitcoin Company, we're like, let's just get some decent lawyers, as like record lawyers, and retain the right people. And they gave us decent advice, and they sort of researched the Canadian law, and we never had issues with that. We always sort of created a sort of like simple, above board technology company.
Well, that's really wise, because from what we heard, Charlie didn't have a horrible time in jail, but I don't think anybody really wants to go.
Yeah, I think jail is not a fun place.
No, there aren't people lining up to get in there.
Yeah.
I mean, socialists like it, right? It's very cool.
That's right. 3 square meals a day.
Yeah, taken care of. 100%
Yeah,
taken
everybody
care
has to wear the same stuff.
Yeah.
Told what they're going to do from the time they wake up till they go to bed. No thinking involved.
Exactly.
So, the Open Dime, we actually bought, what did we buy, 50 of those, Tony?
No, we bought 100 so we could be retailers.
Okay, we bought 100 of those, and we break them down and sell them in singles or threes, and we've done pretty good with those. People seem to like them, especially when we do a show and we sell them. People really buy them at the show because I guess they can't find them anywhere that they can just grab them without getting them online.
That's right. I mean, we keep on running out of stock. It doesn't matter how big we make, how much bigger we make the production runs.
Oh, that's good.
It's because there really isn't any easier way for a new person to like receive Bitcoin the first time. There really isn't anything like it, right? Like, see, you guys been around for a while. Every time you want to give a person Bitcoin the first time, a few bucks for the person to try out, you have to help them download a wallet, make sure it's not a scam wallet, set up, backup, do all the stuff. With Open Dime, because it's a bare bond, you just load some Bitcoin on it and you give it to the person, and boom, they have Bitcoin.
Exactly.
Really
just hand it to them. Mm-hmm. You can do it. You can hand it to your grandchild or your grandmother.
That's right.
Now, with like a Trezor and a Nano, I've been told, and I'm sure I'm right, that you need to plug it in like once a year to update it. But that's not the case with the Open Dime, is it? I mean, if I give someone an Open Dime, they can open it up 10 years from now, and it's still going to be accessible.
That's correct. So, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of people using Open Dime for long-term storage unless they unseal and back it up. Just pretty easy. All they have to do is just use a Raspberry Pi or any computer that's not on the internet, just because your computer could be on and you don't want that private key on there.
Right.
But yeah, if they back it up, then, you're good to go. And there really is no safer way for a noob to generate a private key than an Open Dime. It really is sort of like a no-brainer.
Well, they can find these on your site also. I just want to make sure I give a mention. Even though we sell them, I want to make sure they know they can buy them direct from you at CoinKite.com. And another thing I want to bring, I just want to ask real quick, I've seen stories about people buying wallets on Amazon, for instance. And then someone had repackaged the wallet and had the phrase. There's no chance of that happening with the Open Dime because you have to punch the hole in it, right?
Yes. So 2 things. One is, yes, you have to unseal it, physically unseal it. And 2, you can actually verify it, right? So there is cryptographic verification that you can do on the hardware to know that the hardware is genuine. So before you load funds in, before you activate the device, please, if you're not buying from us, or even if you're buying from us, who knows what happened in the mail, check the device is correct. That's why we have this hat saying, don't trust, verify. Don't trust anyone, not even us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, that's a pretty good deal to me. So the Open Dime's made more, though, as not as a long-term storage, like you said earlier. If I wanted to give somebody that's a newbie some crypto to start with, that's what the Open Dime is, to make that transfer easy.
Yes.
Well, and the nice thing, too, is I often bring up is if you want to go into a back alley and buy something maybe illegal or do something maybe unsavory, then you could pay someone with an Open Dime, and it's an off-chain transaction.
I mean, we don't condone sanctions, sort of like people doing crime on anything, but
sure,
the reality is, all money that is fungible is going to end up being used for things you like, things you don't like, things are legal and things that are not legal.
No matter what money it is.
It's not Open Dime, it's Bitcoin, right? Open Dime is just a vessel for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is uncensorable. So people will use for things that some people don't want them to use it for.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I bring it up, I mean, of course, there are many countries in the world, and there are many laws, and there's differences we all know between laws and ethics. And you have Venezuela, you have countries now that where it's dangerous to tell people that you're a miner, dangerous to tell people that you're holding Bitcoin. And so in those cases, it could be a real lifesaver.
Yep. I mean, for example, we don't sell to Iran, right, because of trade barriers. But, we've heard already from people who sort of smuggled some from, like a legit buyer from Europe, sending a bunch of them to Iran so that people can eat. There's people in Venezuela using them. We know some miners who have been using them. Again, it's all back to the idea that, OpenDime is just another transport for Bitcoin. You can do Bitcoin online, or you can just transfer Bitcoin physically with an OpenDime. And Bitcoin is the ultimate sort of way for people to transact through censorship.
Is the OpenDime a one-time usage thing, though, as far as secured, knowing that the money's on there because you got to punch out the hole?
Yeah, so, I mean, the idea is you load a few, right, and you use them as medium of payment. The next person may also pass them along, and then, many times. But then eventually some people may want to sort of sell those Bitcoins online or transfer them through a computer. So then once you unseal it as a one-time thing, and we change something in the secure chip that knows that, and that cannot be reversed. You can't just solder back and it's all good. It's like it's like verifiably been unsealed.
So would it be? I don't want to be asking top secret stuff, but I'm just kind of curious. How many of these have y'all sold? Like thousands, millions, hundreds? I mean, I'm not looking for an exact amount.
Yeah, so we don't release any information. I find it a lot more fun that way. It's especially fun because we're self-funded, so we don't really have to answer to like VCs or anyone out there. It's a ton.
Okay, that's good enough.
We try to hint people, showing like pictures of big tubs.
Yeah, I've seen them. That's why I'm asking. I've seen a barrel of them, I think, with hundreds and hundreds in there. They like barrels of those have like tens of thousands. It's a lot of fun. Okay, that's cool. Well, now what's the and I'm not sure if this is out yet because it still says pre-order now, the cold card.
So it is out. We've started shipping already. We're keeping the store saying pre-order because if you order now, because we're still going through, like we sold a lot more than we thought, like the pre-sale. So we're still sort of trying to get them out, right? And as we get them out, if you order today, you're not going to get tomorrow. You're still going to have to wait on the bottom of the list to get yours, but they are shipping out.
You're going to the end of the line, basically. All the people who decided to jump on it and pre-order, who already knew that it was awesome, or they ordered well in advance.
I mean, the factory is working overtime, and they keep on like I just got a call from Canada Post saying that they're going to give us a further discount because we keep on going over the quotas that they gave us for the year for the tier level.
Nice, very nice.
So, can you tell us about this though, real quick before we go into it, Tony? I don't understand what it is. What?
Yeah. So there is essentially two major hardware wallets in the market right now, right? And I mean, I know both of them.
Tony has one, and I have the other. So
yeah. So I've I'm a security guy. I've been working security in Bitcoin for other people for quite some time. And I mean, the problem was I did not like, once we closed CoinKite, the server, multi-sig server, I was like, hey, where do I keep my stuff now, right? So I got all the options and I tried them out. I'm like, I do not like this solutions for my own funds. So we're like, okay, let's just create some stuff for ourselves. And then, well, hey, you know what? If we made it for ourselves, why not sell it? So it really is that. So one solution is open source, but it does not use secure elements. I would not use a security product without a secure element. Just no. The other solution has security element, but it's not use a secure product that is not open source. So you're stuck between these two things, and it's like I just can't use them. So what we did is we talked to the manufacturers of the secure element that we use on OpenDime. They understood our need, and they were willing to allow us to make the source open for this, because the secure element is very tricky with manufacturers and contracts, right? Like there's a lot of NDAs. Anyway, so we figured it out, and they end up just open sourcing the specs of that chip anyways. That worked out. So we have a product that is fully open source. It has a secure element. So the whole sort of like cycle of attack arrays there are solved, right? People can verify, they can check the source code, they can build themselves the source code, they can load it into the device themselves. And then there was one problem that both of the other devices also had, is that they don't have in-depth security. What in-depth security is, how do you make sure, or how do you improve the security from manufacturing to the consumer, so you know the device has not been attacked in transit, right? So what we did is we figured out the proper way of loading the hardware with the firmware, and then we actually put the devices in tamper-evident bags at the factory. But we actually scan the the serial number of the bags, and we put it in the secure element of the device.
Oh,
so
wow.
Even if you can get the same bag, you cannot put the same number inside the device. Now, listen, it's not foolproof. One day somebody's going to make bags that are exactly like ours. They're going to try to cheat. But the key here is this idea of in-depth security is making more and more expensive and harder for an attacker to go through the whole process, right? They're going to have to be fairly involved in trying to make that happen. And then we went like, okay, let's go full paranoid on this, right? So we were originally going to make just bare PCBs, so people can see the device has not been tampered with. Then what we did was, hey, let's put a case. We made a transparent case, so you can see the device inside. You can see that nothing has been added to it. And then we went and we created a double pin system. So essentially, you put your half of the pin. The device shows you two words that were randomly generated inside the secure element. So if somebody gives you a device that looks like yours but it's not yours, it's just collecting your pin, you know that it's not the device. So it shows you, like, you put your half of a pin, it shows you two words. Do you recognize those two words? Yes. So this means this is my own hardware. You put the second part of the pin. So even if somebody is stealing your pin, they cannot have the second part and steal your funds from an original device.
Wow. So this is the device that is really going to make you happy. You built it for yourself, in other words.
That's correct.
And the idea that these multiple attack vectors are taken care of also makes it easy for people who, if they're really, really paranoid, they can, like you said, have their own software, basically. So you're basically open sourcing the software, and people can add whatever they want. Like right now, it ships with Bitcoin, correct?
Exactly. So, a lot of people know I'm a bit of a maximalist.
A bit.
So,
nice.
Listen, but I'm still a capitalist above maximalist, right? So if people want to buy my device and make it work for their alt or for whatever purpose they want to, this is a secure device that can be used for many things aside from just Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general, right? They can, and we created ways for them to do that, because you can sign your own firmware. It just means that you're not going to say that this is not original firmware, but you can still sign it and make it secure.
Fantastic.
Well, I'm buying one now. You got a coupon code or anything on here?
We're so busy making devices that we never actually upgraded the store to support promo codes.
Oh, I'm just giving you a hard time. But I am buying one, though.
Yeah, Gary's a great double and triple tasker. He can talk and buy at the same time.
Right. I've got a lot of screens here, so it's not too hard to do. But this wallet, did I also read that on this wallet you can have a secondary wallet in there? So if someone hit you with a wrench, you could give them the password,
the
and it would hit.
wrench.
Yeah, it would give them the wallet that has like 1 Bitcoin in it instead of the wallet that has 2 Bitcoin in it, as an example.
Yeah. So the $5 wrench attack, it's the cheapest attack you can do to remove value from inert, right? There's no cryptography in the world that's going to protect you from a wrench and a bigger guy than you.
Right.
So
if it's not, you need the wrench.
Yeah. So how do we sort that out? I mean, there really is no perfect solution to that, right? Because a smarter attacker is going to know that you have. So we do like the other wallets do, and there is a way for you to have a secondary wallet, and they don't know which wallet you're displaying to them, and they also don't know how many wallets are in there. So yes, you could display a decoy wallet, right, and give those funds away, and hopefully the beating will stop. Now,
sounds like the insurance policy right there.
Exactly. So, but I wanted to go a step further, right? And he could still keep on beating you because he still thinks there's a second wallet.
He knows there's a second wallet.
Yeah.
So what we did is we created a third pin. So you can set up a specific pin that fully bricks the device. The device is as good as garbage. So hopefully you have your backup in a safe deposit box somewhere. You all set up for backup, right? So let's say, they either keep on beating you, or is this some government, or like whatever is happening to you, you're going to just sort of say, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna go last resort here. I'm going to destroy the device, and hopefully this will stop, right? So if you type this pin, which they don't know which pin it is, they don't know if it's the main pin, the secondary wallet pin, or the brick me pin. If you type it, because we use secure elements, we have access to write once, one path, so it's write only to a specific memory address. We can essentially write over the secret in the device. So even if they take the device from you for later recovery, right? Like let's say they stop beating you, they drop you off in front of your house, you take your black hood off, right? You know that the device they have in their hands was safely, securely erased. You cannot do that with a non-secure element.
I see. So basically,
you brick it and they just kill you then.
Exactly. Well, I mean, listen, if those are serious considerations for you, maybe rethinking your life choices might be wise.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I am not here to judge. I'm just here to
I understand. I understand completely. So I'm pretty excited about that. I can't wait to get that. What is this micro SD card, cold card accessory? What is that, just an SD card, or is that something special?
Yeah. So again, another itch I had to scratch. So there is the other wallets out there, and they require you to create plain text backups, right? Like there is no way for you to create an encrypted backup, because to encrypt a backup, you need a computer with encryption software. If you put your seeds in a computer, now you're screwed because the computer, exactly, right? So you're going to have to use a disposable computer. So, a pain in the ass. So essentially, what's the point of using a hardware wallet if you're going to have to share your secret with a non-hardware wallet for backup? So what we did is we created a little system of backup, right? So you can write a secure encrypted backup of your seed into an SD card directly, and it gives you 12 random words that would be the password to that wallet, to that SD card, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the cool thing. Because you can't really use SD cards as a safe medium of backup because essentially they go bad, right? We sourced out industrial grade SD cards. So, if you're a race car, like for race cars, for trains, for space shuttles, all kinds of stuff, they have high standards of requirements for memory storage and memory retrieval, right? So these are very expensive SD cards for the average person to buy. And oftentimes you can't even buy them in singles, right? So they will work, from -40 to +85. They won't bend as easy. They won't they are ESD protected, and then they have a much better way of storing memory that is not lost. It's just very slow. It's slow for a camera, but not slow for text data from a secured device. So anyway, so the idea is you stick these cards in, you make 3 backups in each. So that's just how the industry sort of made the standard. You write 3 times, so you have 3 sets of data in the same card, just in case, and then you're good to go. So preferably you go and you buy 2-3 of those. You make 2-3 backups, encrypted backups, and then you go safe deposit box number 1, safe deposit box number 2, number 3. If a government or a bad guy gets hold of your safe deposit box, you don't care because it's an encrypted backup.
Fantastic. Right? Or and are they small enough to swallow?
Yeah, I mean they're pretty tiny.
That's the other possibility.
They are very tiny, and you can also keep them inside the camera.
Would it survive down your intestinal tract when it came out? Would it still be good?
Surprisingly enough, they are tested against harsh chemicals as well, I think. Gotta read the data sheet, but it should be fine if the stomach pH.
Well, for everyone listening, if you're interested in seeing any of this stuff, just go to CoinKite.com, right?
Yeah, just go to the store. It's the easiest way.
And the open dimes are in a 3-pack, so if you don't want 3 of those, go to CryptoCousins.com/shop where you can buy 1. So give us a plug there too. We sell the onesies.
No, I mean, listen. I have this sort of mentality that like you trust no one, right? So you don't trust resellers, you don't trust us. You get the devices, verify them, and then you're good to go.
Right. For sure. Now I kind of want to also, because we got a limited amount of time, so I'm kind of like moving around fast. Sorry if I am, but I want to cover as much as possible in this amount of time. I want to talk about the Mastodon group.
Right.
How is that coming along? Because, I mean, it's growing pretty fast.
So, if you are into Bitcoin, chances are you're probably anti-censorship kind of mentality person. So, Twitter was doing some questionable things, regardless if you like the people being censored or not. That's beside the point. So I thought to myself, hey, you know what? We need to have a way of continuing the conversation under censorship, right? So it doesn't mean I love Twitter, right? It doesn't mean you need to leave Twitter. That's not the point. The point is, if we go under a regime of censorship, how can we continue this conversation, right? How can we continue, developing Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin is going to be running, but how do we talk about developing it if we don't have channels, right? How do we partake in discussion? So I think it's important to experiment with moving a whole community from one place to another, even if it's not the final destination, if it's not the right solution, right? I mean, Mastodon was kind of cool because within a day or a day and a half, we managed to move 2,000 people into the conversation to this new medium, right? And Mastodon is more decentralized, so people could sort of create their own instances. I just happened to create one. And I also keep on saying, people don't trust me. Just run your own, assume it's all compromised. And that's sort of the best way of going about it. So yeah, we're going to keep on testing out other ideas. I'll keep on running that node for as long as it's worth it. If people have other ideas, they should sort of act on them.
Well, right now, as of 6 minutes ago, the Federation bot, did this update on there. It looks like where are we at on there? Are we in the top 10 anymore? Looks like we've dropped down. We've always been in the top 10.
Yeah, we were the top 10 most active instances. I think people got bored.
Yeah, I don't think they're in there as much. I've noticed the amount of conversation to begin with was amazing. And now it's kind of like people are kind of dropping off a little bit. I tell people, just go in there and get your name, if nothing else, in that particular instance.
Again, my thesis, my point of doing that was, can we immediately move on people for
you moved a lot of people real fast
to a new place if we need to? And the answer is yes. So that to me is a success. Now, if we're gonna use Mastodon or not, that's a whole other story.
Right. Well, someone does want to go there. It's bitcoinhackers.org is the instance name, just to make sure everybody knows that. What were you going to say, Tony?
Well, I guess, your point basically is that it was a beta test. Can you move a bunch of people with the similar world outlook onto a new decentralized platform? How quickly? How can it work? And it was a huge success. And it's important because, as we've seen with Alex Jones, we've seen with many, many other people, of course, it's always the people who are the most controversial. You like them, you don't like them, it doesn't matter. The point of it is that there is censorship. And it's not your platform. We call it in the content marketing world that Gary and I come from, digital sharecropping. You're putting your stuff on someone else's land, and you can't trust that and you have no assurance that your communication is going to be there tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it. It's like we need to have ways of fighting censorship, regardless if we like the message or not. I think there's a lot more stuff being developed. I hope to see a proper peer-to-peer sort of Twitter of the likes at some point. There is a bunch of other projects, and you know what? If you're a dev, go find projects like that and put some time to help them sort of make it better or make it right. Those projects are very important. They're as important as Bitcoin is.
Yeah, I agree, because the communication part of it is as important, because transmitting the ideas behind the Bitcoin and the Bitcoin movement is critical.
That's right. I mean, you need a place to coordinate, right? That's how you make stuff happen.
we need to know what to put on our next hat. I see you've got your No 2X and UASF hats behind you.
That's right. Talk about coordination, right?
Yeah. So fantastic! It's been great talking with you. We had our conference a couple weeks ago. We brought Safety Namus to Dallas, Texas, and I think he was right there, either right before or right after our conference. You guys got to have some time with Safedine, and
yeah, I've had quite a few drinks. We've shared steak before a few times.
Hey, did you hear about our conference by any chance, BitBlock Boom?
No, I have not.
Okay. I was just curious. I'm not trying to promote it here. I just was curious if you'd heard of it.
You know, my wife is due very soon, so I sort of like, I have not booked any conferences for the next sort of like.
It was in July, so.
Oh, was it July?
Yeah. We had Safe there and Pierre there. It was in Dallas. Bitstein was there. Tour de Meister.
You guys had a nice carnivore dinner.
We did Friday night.
Very jealous.
Yeah, and then it was a Bitcoin maximalist event. Next, we're going to do it next year. And I'm going to send you some information next year because we'd like to have you join us. It's strictly a Bitcoin maximalist event. No shilling, no ICOs. Matter of fact, Safe said this was his first conference he'd ever been to that no one tried to shill him an ICO.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show, Tony. I mean, this was very fun. I learned some stuff. I've got me a new wallet coming. This was a great interview. Is there anything you want to make sure you cover before we get out of here? I want to make sure it isn't something you wanted to promote or talk about.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, listen, what I keep on saying to people is, follow at CodeCard Wallet on Twitter. Follow at OpenDime. That's normally where we put out most information. You can follow me at MVK on Twitter. That's often where I put most of the information. We don't put a lot of time on our sort of like sales properties. We're just too busy building stuff. We already have 2 other projects on the go. So
fantastic. Well, we look forward to hearing about those. Congratulations on your expectancy. Is this your first child?
Yes.
Oh, congratulations. I'm expecting first grandchild tomorrow.
And I have 2 grandchildren and 2 kids, so way ahead of all you guys.
Yeah.
But I'm older than all you guys, so that's fair enough. Hey, Tony, anything else you want to add or ask him before we get out of here?
That's all. We look forward to reconnecting in a couple months when you have a couple more projects out, which we know you will.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. We appreciate it very much.
Take care, Rodolfo.
Okay, and we're back. I really enjoyed that discussion with him. We could have gone on a long time. I kind of had to cut it off there, kind of control the conversation. I felt like, or we'd have been talking an hour.
We could have talked for over an hour. There's no doubt about it. Well, we look forward to having Rodolfo out to the next BitBlock Boom.
Yes, I hope he comes to the BitBlock Boom. He would be a great person to have there. And if you haven't listened to the show, you may not be familiar with BitBlock Boom. But since I'm the guy that's always promoting, I'll do my job here.
Yeah.
In July, we had our first BitBlock Boom, which was a total success. It was a Bitcoin maximalist convention, and we're setting up our second one now. So go to bitblockboom.com, and you can check that out. We need to get that set up, Tony. But also, I want to make sure everybody knows that if you're listening to this and you haven't ever subscribed to our podcast, go to cryptocousins.com/subscribe. You can find us on YouTube. Anything you want to add, Tony?
Well, I like to say, call us with questions at 747-777-9471.
We need a little theme song for that. Call 747. A little jingle there, yeah. Maybe someday a cousin will be a musically talented person.
And we want to do a shout out to our friends at the North Texas Blockchain, who have been having many more events, they have a new marketing director, and she's been doing a really great job of getting people together, and we're getting together tonight, in fact, downtown at the Network Bar.
We are getting together tonight and doing a transfer of some mining equipment there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also
from one vehicle to another.
Yeah, and they're going to promote the Cryptoversary. She emailed yesterday saying, "Oh, one of the links doesn't work," and I typed it in. I said, "It works fine," so I'm confused. Or I didn't type it in. I just clicked on it in the email, and it worked fine. So I sent her another link to use. Yeah, so we're looking forward to getting involved with it. And if you're in Dallas-Fort Worth, you ought to check out the North Texas Blockchain.
Texas Blockchain Association. Yeah, NTBA. You Google them. Some other NTBA comes up as well, but, just Google it with the word crypto in or something.
Yeah. So I've been actually enjoying this show. This thing I really enjoyed last week. So it had a good amount of people there, about maybe 30 people there. And they have good drinks here. Okay. Nothing else that I have, so unless you do, I'm going to say let's get out of here.
Sayonara.
Adios. Love you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Crypto Cousins podcast. Please share this podcast with anyone you know that is interested in cryptocurrency. Your friends can subscribe on iTunes at cryptocousins.com/iTunes and on Android at cryptocousins.com/play. If you want to know more about Tony or Gary, just go to tonysakala.com or garyleland.com. Make sure and join us on the next episode, and thanks for listening. The Crypto Cousins podcast and information in the podcast are not intended as investment advice. Cryptocurrencies are risky. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. Always seek professional advice before making any investment. Investing in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies may present tremendous risks. Please understand that you are using any and all information available on or through the Crypto Cousins podcast at your own risk.